Kirk Franklin sings the song. He says, I like me. Yo, you like me? Because I like me. Do you like me? See, I like me because he likes me. God likes me. You don't like me? Kirk Franklin is showing that he's come to like himself because he's able to see the way God sees him. He says, I'm short, big nose, big lip. I kind of stutter, but I never trip. Got my daddy's swagger, but I walk with a limp. He said, I got a hot wife, no need to be a pimp. He said, I've never been cute. I've never been fly. But since I've been changed, I have an apple in my eye. He said, I got my grill fixed, so I smile when I speak. Tell me who that is. That's that Jesus freak. He's putting words to song, what Jennifer Hudson and what Jessica is trying to do. They are essentially saying that people will not accept me if I don't accept myself. But it's hard to accept yourself when no one has accepted you in the first place. In Mark chapter 7 and 8, we see a confident Jesus, a Jesus who is meeting insecure religious people. I said Jesus is meeting insecure religious people, and they have problems eating. Jesus is meeting insecure religious people who have problems eating. What are you talking about, preacher? They're putting other people down based upon what they eat and how they eat and when they eat, what they eat. They're basically telling the other people, I don't like you because I don't like me. In Mark chapter 7, Jesus is questioned about appropriate hand washing. They interrogate Jesus and his disciples with the third degree, not about washing their hands with soap and water or using the Purell with 40% alcohol, but ceremoniously washing their hands according to tradition. But Jesus says, you honor me with your lips, the thing that the food goes into, but your heart is far from me. Have you ever met people who honor God with their lips, with what they eat, with how they eat and where they eat and what time they eat? They honor God with their lips, but they are the most unhappy and surly people around. They tell you to eat breakfast like a king or a queen, and eat lunch like a prince or a princess, and eat dinner like a pauper, but they text and drive at the same time. They tell you not only to not eat unclean meat, but they tell you don't eat any dairy, don't eat any fish, don't eat any cheese, don't drink tap water or white bread, or no chicken McRib. And they not only do they tell you what to eat, but they drive past you while you're the one walking to church. They honor God with their lips. They will tell you what to take out of your refrigerator, and they will come to your house and help you do it. But when you need help with some school clothes for your kids, they're nowhere to be found. They honor God with their lips, but their hearts are far from him, he says. He says in Mark chapter 7, it's not about what you eat. It's about primarily what's in your heart. Jesus goes beyond diet and beyond weight loss in Mark chapter 7 and in Mark chapter 8, and he meets people at the point of their need. If you have issues with faith, if you have issues with speaking and hearing, Jesus does all things well. He cares more about your heart than what you eat. He cares more about what's in your spirit than what's in your kitchen. Before Jesus gets to the blind man in our story, Jesus feeds 4,000 plus people. I said he feeds people who are hungry. In chapter 8, they don't have problems with diet and eating. They have problems with hunger. Jesus feeds 4,000 people, not with veggie links or soy milk, but he uses some processed meat and some stale bread. Jesus doesn't give people what they want. He takes what they have and makes it better. He says, you don't have to have those organic, expensive salads with walnuts and beans and avocados. Bring to me what you got. If you got some fish, you don't have to have the 12-grain flaxseed oatmeal wheat bread. But if you got some stale loaves, bring me what you got. I'm glad Jesus keeps it real. So many people have health goals and eating goals, but they fail to realize that you don't have to empty your refrigerator and replace it with all of that fake meat from the health store. But Jesus says, what do you have? What are you working with? He doesn't point out the problems first. He says, what are you working with? Before we get to the blind man, we need to understand primarily it's not about looking at problems. It's about looking at your strengths. You see, that's the thing about resolution. So many people look at their faults instead of their strengths. They look at the rhinoceros wanting to be a unicorn, but they fail to realize that there's some strengths in being a rhinoceros, and you can never be a unicorn until you first accept the rhinoceros in you. Before you make resolutions and lists about what you don't like about yourself, why not make a list of the things that you do like about yourself? You see, resolutions are not about fixing yourself or improving yourself. It's about accepting yourself and taking the things that are already good in your life and making them better. So you don't have to criticize yourself just because other people do. You can look in the mirror and say, I like me because God likes me. And he works with what I have.